Well, howdy folks. Here I am again, celebrating Christmas with a marathon of Christmas movies that I have yet to talk about. I may do some repeats, but this is one I've never talked about because I haven't seen it until just this year. Actually, I've heard about this film several years ago, and matter of fact, it came out when I was, gosh, around 9 years old. Matter of fact, the copyright date is 1993. Now, this particular story, like A Christmas Carol, has been told many, many times. It has been told through different film adaptations. It has been told through different stage productions. And this film is really a marriage of the two, where it's basically ballet meets Hollywood. So what we have here is, that's basically what it is. It's basically Hollywood came to New York to film a performance, is basically what has happened. And well, what am I talking about? I'm talking about 1993's originally released by Warner Brothers. I think it's since switched hands, but it was originally a Warner Brothers release, and it was George Balanchine's The Nutcracker. Again, released in 1993, performed by the New York City Ballet, with some notable actors. One you hear, and the other one you just see. There's only one speaking role, and that is the one actor that I told you here. Basically, the story is it's about this little girl by the name of Marie. She receives a Christmas gift, which is a nutcracker, and she falls asleep, or does she, and enters into the fantasy world of Christmas, and I guess that's what you would call it, a fantasy world where the sugar plum fairies and the nutcrackers and all these different elements of Christmas come to life in her vision that you would see, and she falls for the Nutcracker Prince, here played by Macaulay Culkin. And so Macaulay Culkin was brought in to play the Nutcracker Prince, and I think he does a fantastic job for what he's, the thing of it is he's at this time Macaulay Culkin had made Home Alone 2, and so who was the biggest child star at the time that they could sell this movie other than Macaulay Culkin? So yeah, Macaulay Culkin plays the Nutcracker himself. A young actress, actually a young ballet actress by the name of Jessica Lynn Cohen, plays Marie in this film, and she gives an adorable performance. I kind of want to see what she looks like today. There's not much on her other than just being in this film, but apparently she is very much into ballet, and she's known as a ballet performer and not necessarily a film star. Again, this was the New York City Ballet as the main star of this film. And when you read the credits, Macaulay Culkin gets the last credit, even though he was the biggest child star at the time. His credit is like towards the end, and the number one credit is the New York City Ballet, and giving off the featured performers that perform the certain scenes. Like we have, let's see here, I'm going through the IMDb. We have Bart Robinson Cook as Drosselmeyer. his character basically is the character who gives the Nutcracker to Marie, and so and then we have people like the Sugar Plum Fairy. I'm trying to find who she is. I just got to pull up the post. Yeah, yeah. If you look at the poster, which I flashed that up, and of course at the top you have the different performers of the scenes. So let's just go to different cast and crew. Okay, okay. Darcy Kistler. I hope that's how she pronounces her name. She is the Sugar Plum Fairy, and then we have Kyra Nichols. She plays Dewdrop. Wendy Whalen as Coffee. And then we have Jen Hiroshi. I am sorry if I am butchering these people's names. I am so sorry. I do not mean to do so. He plays T. And then we have Tom Gold as Candy Cane. And it's performers from the New York City Ballet that are actually the main star of this film, rather than Macaulay Culkin. Macaulay Culkin, I think, was brought in to add a little bit more publicity to the film. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, it's basically, you see all the performers like the Sugar Plum Fairy and her partner. They do a dance, and of course the snowflakes, the hot chocolate. Coffee does a dance, and then there's the tea. Most of the time, Macaulay Culkin, he has this big sequence towards about the early middle of the film where Marie first enters into her, I'm just going to say it's a dream, where he comes as the Nutcracker Prince, and there's this big battle where he battles off giant mice, and that's about all. The rest of the film is he may strike a pose, or something like. And there's one part where he has to tell the story about his battle, and he doesn't speak a word in this film. He just does it through like suggested motions and dances. That's how the story is told. Now, the narrator of the film is Kevin Kline. This is one of those films that suffered from the wrath of Macaulay Culkin's father, Kit Culkin. Unfortunately, as I was reading the trivia here. Kit Culkin was such, we know kind of the story that Macaulay has shared over the years, that he was kind of a tyrant, and I think he described him literally as like the father from hell. But I don't know, we just know what we're told. But in the trivia on this film is that he would not let Macaulay do any publicity of the film unless Kevin Kline's narration was dropped. And so they wanted Macaulay Culkin to, be a part of the publicity and, bring in a crowd to see the film. But then Kit Culkin started being a little bit more tyrannical and asking for more demands and so forth, to the point where the producers said, forget him, I'm putting the narration back in and I'm ignoring everything else he says. So yeah, but the only thing that Macaulay Culkin has done is that, in terms of publicity, is that they used his name. I don't know. I really don't remember a whole lot of publicity about this film, to be honest. I remember it coming out in 1993, and I remember seeing the trailer for it at the beginning of Free Willy, and of the Free Willy video, because it was about to come out that Christmas, I think. And I remember it kind of had this trailer that, to me as a little kid, I thought was kind of strange and bizarre, where it showed this computer generated snow falling down, and you hear this female narrator says, in a child's eye, something about magic, wink of an eye could be a Christmas tree, and there's this computer generated Nutcracker, and it was this really, it was this kind of a strange trailer, I think. But yeah, other than that, it's a pretty harmless movie. I mean, it is rated G. There's really nothing in here that should be offensive to anybody. It's darn near squeaky clean. I mean, the only thing is that there is a character in the film. Let me see here. There's a character in the film, and this is actually probably going back to the stage production. We have the character's called Mother Ginger, and this is based on George Balanchine's choreographed version of the Nutcracker. The Nutcracker story goes back to the 1800s, I believe, and in Russia, and it was a European story originally, but George Balanchine, when he adapted it for American audiences, he made little subtle changes to the story, or to the casting. With the character of Mother Ginger, it's usually played by a man. And so that's the only thing, but it's not thrown in your face that it's, like homosexual. It's really played for comedy. And of course, back in the days of William Shakespeare, it was not uncommon for men or young men to play roles of women. So yeah, but I think that part was mostly played for comedy. And then you have, like I said, George Balanchine made little subtle changes to the American stage production, and one of the other thing was with the character of Coffee in the original production, that character was also to be played by a man, like an Arabian. It's supposed to be like an Arabian type of character, but George Balanchine, when he brought that production to the United States and started to adapt it, he changed that character from male to female. And so we have the performer. I just had her name, Wendy. Oh boy. Oh, IMDb. How much troublesome this app is sometimes, because the cast is on the complete side. Let's see here. Yeah, Wendy Whalen. Okay, there you go. Wendy Whalen playing Coffee, and of course is a woman. And George Balanchine, the reason why he wanted a woman into that part, it's not necessarily Wendy Whalen that he picked out, but when he brought the production from the Europeans to America, he changed it to where a woman had to play the character, because he thought it would bring a little bit more eye candy to the stage. So yeah, and this film, now I'm going to get into what I think of the film. Okay, the film is beautifully performed, beautifully shot. As a matter of fact, the film's director is Emile Ardolino. Emile Ardolino is famous for movies like Dirty Dancing, and Sister Act. As a matter of fact, the most popular film he had at the time was Sister Act, and this film was released 4 days after he had passed away. Because he battled AIDS. Okay, but this was his technically his last film, and but it's beautifully filmed, beautifully performed. I think the performer Jessica Lynn Cohen as Marie, she is, as you know, back then, of course, she's now an adult then, an adult now, and I'm sure she's a beautiful, wonderful person. And back then, she is absolutely beautiful, playing the part of Marie and playing, you know, somebody that was probably, I'm guessing, around between the ages of 10 and 12 years old. That's just a guess. How old she is. Back then, I don't know. This was 1993. Okay, so I'm sure she's a beautiful young person today, but still performing ballet, as what I've done somewhat research is that she still performs, as far as I know. But yeah, she's a wonderful. She gives a wonderful performance. However, where I think this film loses its charm is, and I also looked this up for Siskel and Ebert's review. The film works better when you see it on the stage. Now, I do understand what they were going for, is that they wanted to bring this film to the mass audiences, to the people that can't afford, you know, to go see a production at, you know, the New York Ballet, or any stage in New York, to see this production, because it's expensive to go to a Broadway show or any type of ballet production. It's very, very expensive. While across the country, most people can't afford to go to the movies. I mean, you know, within $20, you know, you can go and sit down in a movie theater and watch this presentation. But that's where I think it kind of loses its charm, is that the fact that it was shot as a film when really it was a stage production that would be more magical and more of a wonderful experience if you sat in a stage theater rather than a film theater to see this production. Again, I'm not knocking any of the technical or performance. It works beautiful. It's a beautiful film, but to me it kind of took away, you know, watching it as a film rather than going to a actual stage production of the film. And I'm sure a lot of people kind of feel the same way. Even you can't beat reality. It's, my grandmother used to say, well, why do you want to go to a concert when all you can do is turn on the TV and see that person on TV? Because it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. It's the interaction. It's the social component. You know, I can look up any person and put them on my TV or my computer or whatever, but I don't have any interaction with them. I can't talk. I can't see, you know, these people in live doing. I can't see Kira Nichols play Dewdrop. I only see that on a film presentation. It's a big difference when you see it on stage. But again, I am not knocking anybody's performance. It's 100% top notch. I just think it was kind of, I'm trying to describe it. I'm sorry if I can't get my thoughts out, but it's not the same as, you know, going to actually seeing it for real. You can't, you know, going to the movies is one experience, and the movies obviously has a magic to itself. Some people would argue not so much today because, you know, they no longer show movies on film, they show it on digital video. And I understand that, you know, there was, I can't remember which theater exhibitor it was. I think it was Marcus Lowe who started Lowe's Theaters. I am not, do not quote me on that, but there was a movie exhibitor who very much said, I don't sell movie, he said, I don't sell movie tickets, I sell tickets to transportation, meaning that movies will take you somewhere. And I think this movie tries to do that, but it's obvious that this was a stage production, that they choreographed the camera moves, as well as the dancers and the performers. But obviously that this works better as a stage production rather than it does as a film. But I think it has I looked up the Rotten Tomatoes. What does the common audience think of this? And 63% of the audience love it. I mean, it's fresh in terms of the audience standards, but in terms of the critics, they are kind of like, okay, yeah, it doesn't work as a film. And I'm pretty much, I agree with what they have to say, but the reason why I still think that this, I still think it doesn't work as a film, but I don't say I don't say neglect this film or stay away from it. I would say check this out with your family. I do say it's a good family film to sit down and watch. Now, again, this film may play better depending on what type of family that you have. If most commonly, I would think that if you have a family of, let's say your parents, where there's a lot of little girls in your family, this film might play a little bit better as opposed to boys. Because I'm sure boys can enjoy it and sit down and watch it, but they'll probably be bored to tears with it because, hey, there's no cool parts. To me, it kind of plays more for little girls, and which is okay. I mean, again, not knocking the production or the direction as the filmmakers, but it's just, I think where the creative falls flat is presenting it as a film rather than going it as a stage production. Like I said, it would probably be more enjoyable as a stage production, but if I was a part of Siskel and Ebert's rating system, you know, there's up and then there's down. I'm going like this. Okay. To me, it doesn't work as a film, but it is beautifully filmed, beautifully performed. Nothing on screen is horrible. It takes away a little bit of the magic of actually seeing this story being told on a stage rather than it does to watch it on film. So, George Balanchine's The Nutcracker. Do check it out. If you can find it's on Tubi for free right now. So I myself watched a DVD copy, but that I found that I found at the Dollar General for like $1.50. So, yeah, do check it out. It is free on Tubi. Gather your kids. It is a truly family film. Nothing in it that's going to harm your children. And matter of fact, they may laugh, they may giggle, and enjoy it and being the magic. There is one more thing in here. I forgot to mention. Again, this movie is basically Hollywood meets stage production. So you do have Emil Ardolino as the film director, who had made a box office success with Sister Act, coming on board to direct this film. And but there's a couple things in here that you would never know that were Hollywood special effects. There's a scene in the film in which transitions Marie into the world of the Nutcracker and the sugar plums and so forth, and it starts in her living room where the Christmas tree is. And of course the Christmas tree is this bright magical object, and the scene is where the tree grows and becomes humongous. Okay, I looked this up, and it looks like they could have done this on the stage. It was not. It was a complete film post-production effect provided by Industrial Light and Magic. Matter of fact, Industrial Light and Magic is credited at the end in the film for doing the special visual effects. That was one of the effects they did, was they made this tree just keep on growing and growing and growing. And the visual effects supervisor on the film, I looked it up, and he said that the trick was to make it look like this could happen, like the special effects department for the ballet could pull this off. But if you look at it, it's very complex what this tree does, because the lights still glow and twinkle, and it just goes up into sky. And there's also an obvious effect at the end of the film when the Nutcracker and the Nutcracker Prince, Macaulay Culkin, and Marie are on this sleigh, and as they're going across up into supposedly the air, and obviously you can see the wires because it is a stage production, but at the end they put a little sparkle trail coming out of the sleigh. That was also done in post. But yeah, again, gather your family around, watch this film. It's George Balanchine's The Nutcracker from 1993. Do check it out. It's a wonderful film. I just think it falls flat because it is on film. It would be more spectacular if you saw it in the stage. But again, so from me to you,